Here we go. So, as I was saying, the start of this game, it's a bit of a slow build as Link finds himself teleported away from the land of Hyrule and lying flat down on the ground in a new world where he's found by a nice red-headed lady who is dancing on top of a tree stump in the middle of a slightly forested area with a bit of music playing. This is Din. She's our titular Oracle of Seasons, if you will. And Link's just having a good time. Link's having a great time. Just dancing. He woke up, he's dancing. Why not? Why not? Oh. But then the lightning starts. And then the talking tornado shows up and ruins the party, which, I mean, I assume would typically ruin the party most of the time. But we're going to find out that this tornado is not just a tornado, but is actually also a very large armored man named General Onyx, who has captured the Oracle and is throwing everything into disarray by doing so. He's going to sink the Temple of Seasons and throw the weather out of whack throughout the entire land. This is going to cause the landscape of the game to essentially go haywire. As you move from one area of the world to the next, you're going to be seeing the seasons change and have no real rhyme or reason. And that's sort of the main crux gimmick that the game works around as you're progressing through. Link's goal here is to basically find the tools to control and fix the seasons so that he can make his way to General Onyx and save Din, the Oracle of Seasons. We wake up. Again, we've been knocked out twice so far. Once at the start, once now. Not a great start for Link, but our runners are actually getting into the game now as they're going to head to go pick up the sword. qdoe, with the slight lead at this point, heading down into the Hero's Cave, which is the first sort of introductory dungeon, or not dungeon, but introductory area that introduces you to some of the basic mechanics, basic movements. Your first interaction with the lovely, terrible enemies that are Keese. And the whole idea of falling into pits on the ground. Couple little block pushes. You're going to see a lot of these keys throughout the run. They're not going to be any kinder or any nicer or more pleasant. You can see qdoe already has only a heart remaining, as Mashy takes the lead here as a result. And you just saw them both save and quit, which when you do a save and quit, you return back to the entrance of whatever dungeon you're in, which is just used to save time. You're going to see it a whole bunch throughout the run overall, as Mashy and qdoe both more or less at a tie pick up the save, or pick up the sword, and are going to begin making their way back into town. So as they get into Holodrum, you're going to see that they have different seasons. This is because, as I said earlier, the seasons are completely out of whack. And so every time you come into this main town area, the seasons will be different. There's a random chance for any of the 4 seasons to appear. And the runners are really looking for any season that's not winter. Winter's terrible in the town because winter spawns these large snow drifts that Link can't walk past. Which means he has to take a longer route to this tree, the Maku tree. So as long as the runner doesn't get winter, they're on good pace. They're going to grab the Dungeon 1 key from the Maku tree because it is often the case that your talking trees hold on to dungeon keys. No, I think that's right. Pretty sure that's accurate. And they're now making their way towards Dungeon 1. which is you're fairly straightforward and simple introductory Zelda dungeon. Not a lot of complexity going on here. There's a little bit of killing, a little bit of movement. qdoe, you saw pick up a fairy. That fairy is a set spawn, so it's always going to be there, just to refill after he got a little bit beat up in the Hero's Cave. Both runners having a very decent Salphos rooms. And you're going to see this is the introduction of the minecart. You're going to see a bunch of minecarts in the run, where Link just hops in and goes for a little bit of a joyride amidst all the chaos that's going on. He's invulnerable in the minecart, which means he can swing his sword at his heart's content, kill the Keese as he flies on by. And just have a good time. You get to take out a little bit of your aggression on these bats without ever losing time. What more can you ask for? Good. First interaction with a bombable wall, some nice little pair of X's to let you know, hey, things are a little bit different. You're gonna watch both runners do a little damage boost, just pushing their way right on through, tanking damage because Link's a boss, doesn't even care. And we meet our first mini-boss, the Goria Brothers. The Goria Brothers share a health pool. They run around and they will throw a boomerang at you. It is possible to get a quick kill if you're able to get a double bomb hit on the blue Goria. Neither runner able to connect, but having relatively similar timed fights as the gap between them has remained pretty consistent, as both of them pick up the dungeon item, our seed pouch. Throughout the game, we're going to be picking up a variety of seeds that are going to have various uses for us. At default, the seed comes with, or the pouch comes with 20 ember seeds, which set things on fire, as one may guess. But we're going to be picking up a couple more. Our runners here are just going to pick up the boss key and then head on towards the Dungeon 1 boss, who you may be familiar with if you're familiar with Zelda 1. But you'll see. Before that, though, both of our runners are going to do a manipulation. So, in seasons and in most games, there is RNG involved with how the enemies move. And with a knowledge of that RNG, we can hard reset, power off and power on the device, the game, to reset our values to a set point. And if we know what that set point is, we can roll our RNG forward by swinging the sword, which will make it so that our enemies do particular things that make our lives easier. So one of the things that happened here is that Aquamentus, our Dungeon 1 boss, has the opportunity to charge at us. He puts his head down and he charges forward, and every time he charges, we lose 7 seconds. But by manipulating the RNG, by slashing our sword a certain number of times, listening for a certain sound of the sword, we can make sure that he doesn't charge at us and we get a quick kill. Every time Link swings his sword, it can give off one of 3 tones. There's a high tone, a mid tone, and a low tone. And by having a knowledge and recognition of those tones, you can manipulate the game to your will, and to a limited extent, of course, and get preferable enemy movements, enemy locations, certain drops at some points. It looks like Mashy is on the backup version of the manipulation, potentially, and qdoe is on the first pass of the manipulation, if they're both still on. Neither of them got charges, so it's a little bit hard to tell at this point. Oh, I'm not 100% sure. Meanwhile, our players have met Rosa, the Subrosian with the bow. This is her identifying feature, aside from the key on her hip. Mashy, still on manipulation as he's gotten the 5 rupees from that sign. qdoe, not so much. But Rosa has 2 patterns on each of these screens, a quick pattern and a slow pattern. Right now, both players have gotten the quick pattern, I believe on both screens, despite qdoe falling off of the manipulation. But part of the reason that we manipulated in Dungeon 1, Mashy has continued that same manipulation in order to ensure that these 2 signs that he's burned have dropped 5 rupees. The reason for that is that we need 10 rupees after Dungeon 2 on our way towards Dungeon 3. After we get to Dungeon 2, after Dungeon 2's over, we can talk a little bit more about why they need that. But they followed Rosa, they didn't get caught. She tried to trick them, she tried to come back and scare them. But they enter into Subrosia, which is the sort of underworld to Holodrum, where these robed Subrosians like to live, hang out. It's a place of lava. You can see some Subrosians bathing in lava. There's a little bit of a almost Goron aspect to them, even though there are still Gorons in this game, even though we won't see them. But our runners are both making their way towards the Temple of Seasons, which we watched sink into the ground at the start of the run when Din got captured. And as we come, we receive our sort of main item to manipulate the weather, manipulate the seasons around us. The Rod of Seasons, which whenever we jump on top of a stump, we'll be able to swing our rod and change the world around us just a little bit to help us progress forward. However, our rod's a little bit depowered, so we need to go into the 4 season towers and imbue our rod with the magical gems that grant them the power to change the seasons. The first one that we can get, and the only one we can get for the time being, is Winter, the winter season. As the runners pick up Winter, they'll be able to create snow piles, they'll freeze over lakes, and large snow drifts that they'll be able to walk over. And you're going to see this come into effect immediately as they step out of Subrosia. Mashy still holding on to a manipulation that he's been doing thus far. qdoe has lost it, but Mashy is going to basically be holding this manipulation all the way through to about a third of the way through Dungeon 2, where he gets the dungeon item for Dungeon 2, so long as he does not lose it on his way. That is correct. The winter season also will wither trees. You'll see it upcoming, not at this first stump, but on the second stump that they swing on. Mashy swinging his sword to keep himself on the correct manipulation. And you're going to see, potentially, there's going to be a bit of a time gap created between the 2 of them here if qdoe gets unlucky with his enemy spawns as a result. Because Mashy is on the manipulation, he has a consistent enemy placement. He knows where they're going to be, and he knows how he needs to walk. qdoe, on the other hand, you're seeing already, he's running into enemies. And having to swing his rod to sort of push them out of the way. Mashy creating a snow pile and jumping into the chimney of a house because sometimes when it's winter, you feel a little bit like Santa Claus and you just want to live out your dreams. And then the girl in there says, hey, take the shovel and dig out of the front of my house, because that's the reasonable thing to say to someone on into your house. No, wait, that's not right. Well, anyway, they need to continue towards Dungeon 2. Mashy's carrying on. He's increased his lead a little bit here with the manipulation. qdoe did get still a fairly decent luck with his enemies, despite getting hit once. So he's not too far behind. He hasn't lost too much time as a result. And you saw them both pick up mystery seeds from that tree there on their way. Mystery seeds we use once in the run, only necessary for one part of the game, and that's not for quite a while. Mashy potentially off the manipulation now after that rope room. We will see if he tries to get back on manipulation as they do another save and quit, or if he's just gonna go straight for it. Swinging his sword, may have gotten it. Seems that he's fallen off. If he were to stay on the manipulation, these moblins would be in a position that allows him to throw a single bomb and kill both of those moblins immediately. But instead, he still gets a fairly quick kill with the sword and picks up the dungeon item. Both of them do. It is the power bracelet, or, you know, some people think it looks like a croissant, so they call it a power croissant. But nonetheless, it makes Link very, very strong. He can lift grass, lift rocks, throw things. Ooh. Mashy missing a bomb throw here. This room right here is on a timer. So if the runners were to go too slow, this chest in the middle could despawn, and they would be at a huge disadvantage because they would be out of bombs, and the closest bombs that they could get are from the Deku Scrub in the previous room. But that Deku Scrub charges you 30 rupees for 10 bombs because, I mean, he knows he has the power. What are you gonna do? You're gonna not get the key to progress? He knows what he's doing. He's a jerk, but he knows what he's doing. Business Scrub, not kind Scrub. Both of them able to do it as the timer on the chest is fairly lenient, and continue forward. Picking up their, Mashy picking up his last small key for the dungeon, as he's gonna just head on over to the side-scroller portion of this dungeon. You've seen a side-scroller in Dungeon 1 where they went to pick up the seed pouch, but this game also has a number of side-scroller areas in the run where they will need to progress over a number of screens and actually have to get through enemies and obstacles rather than simply just pick up items. Both of them making through fairly unscathed. We'll see if qdoe decides that he wants to get the backup chest down there. He is going to pick it up. So this chest here has 10 rupees. As I mentioned before, they do need to have 10 rupees. He was at 8, so he could have played it risky and hope that he was going to get a drop from an enemy as he progressed forward, but he opted not to. Meanwhile, Mashy fighting the hardest boss, mini-boss in the game, Facade. It turns out that in the Japanese version of this game, and only the Japanese version of this game, that if you come into this room without going to the bottom half, you never spawn Facade, but his hitbox has already spawned as soon as you entered into the room. So if you just stay on the upper half and throw bombs, you throw your 5, you hit him 5 times, he dies, you didn't even have to see his face. And that's all he is a face. Didn't have to see it. Just a quick time save. Only works in the Japanese version of the game. It's one of the reasons, aside from better save and quits and just general text speed, and a better Onyx fight, that Japanese is faster than English for the run. As it's, yeah. Ooh, Mashy almost taking a spill there as he goes to grab the big key. Gonna make his way back through these moving platforms and head on down to the boss. qdoe grabbing the key as well. And our boss for Dungeon 2 is none other, a classic. What a great boss. King, well, I don't even know if he's King Dodongo. He's just a Dodongo. He doesn't have a crown. I have no proof that he's royal, so he might just be a regular Dodongo, to be honest. But Link uses his bracelet and his bombs in combination to just wreck Dodongo. Dodongo has 2 moves. He charges at you in a straight line, and then he opens his mouth for a year and a half while he tries to charge up a fire ball attack. Which, I mean, you know, I can appreciate the guy for trying, but I really think that if you're vulnerable to dying to spikes, you probably shouldn't be in a room that has a bunch of spikes. Just as a rule of thumb. But, I don't know. Mashy. Out of Dungeon 2. We're going to see there are a couple of different things he might do here. It looks like he is going to be going for the heart ring manipulation. We'll see if qdoe does the same. So what Mashy's doing now is another hard reset. This time, again, setting his RNG value back to a constant level. And he's going to be slashing his sword a bunch here to manipulate on the next screen the interaction with Maple, the witch. And what he's doing here is making that ring in the bottom right corner drop right there every time. Because he slashed his sword a particular number of times, he ensured that the ring that he's getting is the heart ring. The heart ring level 2 will restore hearts after a certain amount of time, certain number of steps, essentially. qdoe opting not to go for the heart ring, just going straight ahead, taking the lead as a result. He'll have a little bit more time, or a little bit more of a lead, as Mashy will need to stop at the ring shop in order to pick up or able to identify the ring and equip it. But some runners do get the heart ring as a sort of safety precaution. You sacrifice around 45 seconds to get the ring, but the argument is made that over the course of the run, you don't really have to worry about picking up hearts or fairies that drop and going out of your way, and that over the course of the run, you will save more than that 45 seconds that you give up at the start, and you will avoid potentially dying. Dungeon 3 and Dungeon 4, you see the heart ring, I think, most clearly potentially benefit over not having it, but we will see. qdoe, using our 10 rupees that we needed to fight this little penguin who stole a didn't steal. He beat a kangaroo in a fight, so he took his gloves as a reward. And now we fought the penguin. We beat the penguin, which means that we get the gloves. And now we can take the glove, give them back to the kangaroo. That kangaroo will give us a flute, and we can use that flute to call that kangaroo, hop in his pouch, and jump around and punch things. I'm not lying to you. I mean, that's what happened. You saw it. Does it make sense even after I've said it? Probably not, but that's what's going on. That's the Oracle of Season. This is Ricky, the kangaroo. He's the worst of the 3 animal companions. He also happens to be the fastest, unfortunately, for the run. The reason that he's so bad has to do with how he moves and the way that he jumps. Every time he jumps a set distance, which means that if he's sort of halfway to the edge of a transition, but isn't all the way there, he needs to do a full jump before he can actually transition the screen, which is slow and obnoxious. But for the time being, we do need Ricky, as we can't jump over holes yet, and we also can't jump up cliffs at all. But it doesn't mean we like Ricky. It doesn't mean we'll ever like Ricky. And Ricky is the worst of the 3 companions that we will meet. That is my opinion, but also, come on. Come on. Our runners have both picked up potentially one of the most useful and necessary parts of the run, our Pegasus Seeds. Pegasus Seeds function as the speed boosting mechanic for Link in this game. Not having Pegasus boots or anything like that, as you see in other games, but instead having a limited number of Pegasus Seeds that sort of don't restrict his movement quite as much as the straight line movement of the boots might, but also being limited in number. But we're going to see them a lot, and in combination, particularly with the Dungeon 3 item, we're going to see how these runners are going to be using items given in the game to do some cool stuff. Cool jumps, cool tricks. Turning it to winter to freeze over the lake and head on over to, unfortunately, talk to rekindle our connection with the kangaroo, Ricky, back. This is the second of 3 times that we will see Ricky. Ooh, qdoe taking a bit of a spill, taking 2 spills as he's trying to get the quick punch jump overwards. Ricky does punch right through these snow piles without any concern or care. Typically, you would need to use your shovel, but Ricky doesn't mind. Ricky can punch right through. Ricky is very strong. I will give him that. Ricky's very strong. He can punch through all these things, but he also lost to a penguin that we beat. So what's the trade-off? I don't know. But you're seeing now qdoe having just picked up a square gem and now heading into Subrosia for the 2nd time. That gem that you see, it's going to come into play a little bit after Dungeon 5. So we'll wait until then to discuss a little bit more. But he's going to be collecting a number of them. Right now, Link wants to take a trip to the beach. You know, he's done 2 dungeons. And he wants to dig up a star ore to buy a bow to give to Rosa. There are 4 locations that star ore can be in. qdoe, unfortunately, getting 4th try. We'll see if Mashy gets a better try as well. Or better try instead. Mashy also getting 4th try, so no time save for him there. But now that we've gotten the bow, we can go visit Subrosia, who lost her bow and was just hanging out by the ocean? Question mark? Who's to say? It's red, but it doesn't look like lava necessarily. And by giving Rosa her bow, she agrees to go on a date with us. She's thankful. We gave her a gift. We've started out strong. We can now take her on a nice romantic date, and definitely not use her to use her master key and open up a locked door that leads to the summer of season. That's not what's happening. This is a romantic date that happens to be useful for our overall mission. That's what's happening. We even demonstrate our sort of strength here by lifting up some rocks, showing that Link is in fact yoked and just a strong man, just showing off a little bit, you know? Meanwhile, we do pick up summer, our 2nd season, wherein we will be able to dry out lake and create vines for Link to climb up. But yeah, we made a stop during our date. I'm sure that at this point, Link wouldn't do something rude or disrespectful, or say like leave her at the edge of a portal as he just leaves, doesn't say goodbye, but just leaves and never talks to her again. Link wouldn't do that because he's the hero of this game and he understands that that's rude. So what you do, obviously, when you're playing through the game is you go back to the beach to where you found her and you sort of have closure for your date. And oh no, never mind. We are in fact just leaving her by the side of the portal. That's well, so okay. No, we're just gonna go to Dungeon 3. Instead, that's fine. Link's got a world to save. He knows. Rose understands. She gets it. Sometimes you gotta make a little bit of sacrifice for the bigger picture here. qdoe heading towards Dungeon 3. Hopefully these water tactics don't give him too much of an issue. Unfortunately, one of them hitting him a couple times, taking him pretty low before we get into Dungeon 3. There are a couple of heart drops in the first room, so he should be okay. As we are going to enter into the Poison Moth's lair. Dungeon 3, which contains the baby brother or baby sister to the best item in the game. You see these little spiked beetles, which typically you would need to use your shield to sort of hold up and bop them over, but you can just spam your shovel, and by doing so, you're able to flip them over. Neither player has gone for the power ring strat in this run. And we make it to a very interesting nip room. Potentially, we're going to see if qdoe is going for a full manip here. Not okay. This is an interesting version of the manip. So these floor masters, they spawn based on what direction you are pressing on your D-pad when you are walking. And by using precise inputs, you can make sure that the floor masters don't spawn at all or anywhere near you. So you can go through that entire room without having to swing your sword. Unfortunately, neither runner able to pull off of the manip, but neither of them getting grabbed, which is the important thing. qdoe, a little bit of swag there as he makes the floor crumble as he's pushing, just to be cool. Welcome to the first season's puzzle. A little bit of a block push, trying to get the bottom row lined up with the top line. Not a difficult puzzle, but Seasons is not the game of puzzles. That is Ages. And I think even though it's not the most difficult, you are at risk of forgetting when you sort of start running the game. qdoe entering into the mimic room, where he is going to hopefully be completely fine and pick up a great item. Such a good item, especially in combination with our Pegasus Seed, the Rock's Feather. Like Dumbo, Link needs a feather to fly. And so, you know, we're at our first step. We're still learning. We can't full on soar through the sky, but we can now do little hops, little jumps. Mashy getting his Rock's Feather as well. But our Rock's Feather in combination with our Pegasus Seeds will allow us to do a number of very cool jumps. And it's sort of the start of what this game is all about, which is very precise movements and good movement execution. And this is what allows for that. Mashy opting not to go. Both players making it through the side scroller relatively unscathed. Pushing the trampoline, grabbing the key, and now they're in full go mode. They just need to go take care of the mini boss, grab the boss key, and kill a boss. qdoe opting not to go for the fast strat down here. There's a way to use a Pegasus Seed in combination with your feather to quickly get through this area. Neither runner going for it. Just playing it safe, making sure they don't fall. If they do fall, it's pretty unfortunate time loss. qdoe gonna go for potentially for the hands manip again. Looks like it. Oh no. Nope. Unfortunate as the hands spawn. We just want to make sure that he stays safe, doesn't end up getting grabbed. If the floor masters do grab you, they do take you back to the start of the dungeon, which, given how close this race is at, would be a terrible time loss for either runner at this point. qdoe jumping over. If you hit that switch, the floor falls out from beneath you and you are unable to progress, which is sad. Welcome to the Dungeon 3 mini-boss. This is Omuai. Omuai is a series of 3 squids. Not kids, just squids. That comes later, much later, as in not in this game. Each squid takes 4 slashes to get rid of. 3 slashes and a spin slash works as well. They bounce around 4 times before going back into the water that they came from. qdoe having a pretty solid fight, a 3 cycle. slightly delayed 3-cycle because of when he threw the first squid. Mashy unfortunately missing a cycle on Omoai, missing 2 cycles on Omoai. As qdoe goes to pick up the boss key, the big key. And then doing a save and quit to speed up his return back. Actually, finishing up Omoai. Not the cleanest fight, but didn't end up dying. And you're seeing now, Mashy still at full health. That is due largely in part to the heart ring, which has revitalized his health the entire time. The entire way through. qdoe beginning the boss fight with Mothula. Mothula likes to spin around, fly around, spawn some mini Mothulas, and cause you a bit of a problem. Mothula can knock you down into the pit down below. If you do, you fall into a sort of basement area where you have to jump on a trampoline and reset the fight. qdoe not falling, having a solid fight overall, easily taking care of it. We'll see if Mashy can do the same. As qdoe's picking up the 3rd essence. And looks like Mashy also getting the clean kill as well. A very clean fight overall, as he's gonna get out as well. Not a lot of time difference between these runners. And as they get into Dungeon 4, we're going to see if there's a potential shift in momentum. As Dungeon 4 is sort of the real tonal shift in the game as far as difficulty. Where the game starts to actually ramp up. qdoe gain a refill on seeds. And in part of the game, part of the importance of the game is your Pegasus seed management, making sure that you're using your seeds wisely and the most effectively. As after basically every dungeon except for Dungeon 7, we will be returning to the Pegasus tree and picking up a refill on our seed. qdoe getting liked. Likes are terrible. They have a sort of grip radius that would astonish your mind. You can be almost a full tile away, and if they're moving towards you, they can still grab you. It is incredibly obnoxious. As qdoe is progressing his way through the Natsu region of the game, Natsu, this area changes based on which animal companion you have. So if you have Moosh, the blue flying bear, who is the best companion with no competition, this area will be a series of holes that Moosh can fly over. If you choose Dimitri, the red Dodongo that can swim, who is also good because they're not Ricky, it'll be filled with water that you swim through. Ricky has a bunch of small holes and cliffs that he needs to jump up. qdoe getting the seed drop. Both our runners wanted a Pegasus seed drop here to just set themselves back at full. Both runners getting it as well. So they're both back at 20 as they got out of the Natsu region. qdoe already used one. As they get into Sunken City. Sunken City, as the name suggests, is flooded with water because they have terrible dam infrastructure and have not really thought this through. But we're just going to be here for a short time. We need to pick up a couple of quick things. First thing is our Gale Seeds. Our Gale Seeds is the method by which we will be coming back to our Pegasus trees. Using a Gale Seed allows you to teleport to any seed tree that we have visited thus far. So we'll be using that a number of times. Meanwhile, we come into contact with the second companion, Dimitri, the Dodongo. He's being bullied by a bunch of kids. So we get those kids to go away by giving them bombs because we are responsible and we know that children would never do anything wrong with explosives. But anyways, we have Dimitri now and we're going to basically continue our way through. Coming to this cave where we need to do a little puzzle where we're supposed to hit all of the statues with one sword swing, and it turns out if you swing your sword once and then slash spin around, you it counts. It counts as one slash because you didn't swing your sword a second time. But we're picking up the flippers, which will allow Link to swim. It's not because Link can't swim without flippers. It's because Link doesn't like to get his feet wet. And so he doesn't want to get his shoes wet, so he chooses not to. He chooses to wait until he has the flippers and everything will be okay. But now he's going to swim through with the help of his flippers, keeping those feet nice and dry as he moves forward. And he emerges out on the other side in the Mount Huku, where we will slowly progress towards Dungeon 4. But first, we need to make another trip to a familiar place. We've been there twice before. This is our third time. Third time's a charm. Third time's a charm. Nothing ever goes wrong on the third try. We are in Subrosia. Third time, baby. We are super excited. Let's go. Come on. Okay. So things have gone awry. We just got our feather stolen. That's not... Okay, so we can't jump, but we got this cool green ore that can... It's super strong. It's actually a stronger weapon than the level 2 sword in the game. So that's cool, right? But we can't jump. So instead, we have to play hide and seek with these two Subrosians instead. Because these Subrosians are jerks. My personal theory, this isn't confirmed in the game, but this is what I think. I think that Rose is a little bit upset about what happened on date night. And she's like, oh, you went into Dungeon 3. I happen to know the feathers in Dungeon 3. So you two, I'm just going to hire you to teach that boy in green a little lesson here about kindness. So she has them just knock you over and take your feather just to teach you a lesson. These little Subrosians have set patterns. They always go the same way. So as long as you know their pattern, you're pretty safe. This part of the game is slow. Slow. Slow is the only word that really, you know, categorizes it. It's great for a speedrun, you know, because sometimes when you're going so fast, you just need to slow down. Maybe you just need to take a break. You're getting tired. This is a little bit of a slower pace. qdoe digging up the feather to take it back as he is now out of the hide and seek region of the game. And he is going to continue forward on towards where we were actually trying to go, which is to get our third season, which is spring. First, we open up a little shortcut, which will allow us to progress a little bit later on in the run. But now we're gonna go. qdoe not getting the jump. I believe that jump is pixel perfect. But qdoe picking up spring. Spring is our third season. Spring is going to do a couple of things. Mostly it's going to bloom flowers, but there are different types of flowers. There are flowers that bloom in spring and don't exist in the other seasons. There are flowers that bloom in spring and turn to stone in other seasons. And then there's flowers that are stone in the non-spring seasons, but during the spring seasons turn into flowers that you can get into, get sucked up in, and then thrown up into the air. I believe the inspiration for this game was real life. I'm pretty sure. I think. I need to double check my facts, but I think that's just accurate. But now that we have spring, we can use it to our advantage. We're gonna change it to spring, and then we're gonna do one of the very few glitches in this game. qdoe accidentally swinging past the season, so he's gonna have to re-swing giving Mashy some time to catch up, actually. Mashy taking the lead. This is Rooster Clip, where Link presses up against the mushroom above to put himself 1 pixel further up than he would normally be able to. That single pixel is enough to allow them both to grab the rooster through the rock and fly up. The cuckoo, sorry. Right now, Mashy taking some falls, giving qdoe back the lead as qdoe picks up the bananas to give us access to the best companion, Moosh. He's a big blue bear. He's adorable. He's powerful. He can hover. He's awesome. He's the best. Everything about him is great. All right? All right? Look at him. Look at him. Sorry, I got a little bit too. I apologize. Just no. I mean, you're allowed to have other opinions about which companion's the best. I can respect that, but you have to understand that you're wrong. But that's okay. Hey, we're gonna use Moosh to get to the Dungeon 4 key, and unfortunately, that's the last time we get to see Moosh. That was it. Say goodbye to Moosh, everyone. Everyone, you have a little bit of time left with Mashy. No, it's gone. Say goodbye. I'm not sure. I got distracted by Moosh. I apologize. I'm not sure if either runner has gotten a bomb drop quite yet. Both runners need a bomb drop for Dungeon 4. We will see based on whether or not they pick up the chest inside Dungeon 4 that has bombs in it. qdoe, you saw, picked up 3 hearts in those bushes over there. Those hearts are always there. They're set spawns. Mashy catching up here. This is a very... Ooh, it's exciting, chat. This jump right here, you're normally supposed to go around, but you can make that jump just barely if you put yourself between the 2 tiles. Rooster Clip. Mashy did get a bomb drop, so Mashy will not be picking up the bombs. And so we got the Dungeon 4 key. What did we do with it? We put that key into a slot above the waterfall, and that will stop the waterfall from flowing because so they're gonna enter the Dungeon 4 now. And Dungeon 4, as I said before, this is the Dancing Dragon dungeon. This is where the difficulty of the game really starts to increment up. And I think it's the place where qdoe not having the heart ring might not work in his favor. Neither runner got the bomb chest, which means that both runners got the bomb drop, which is great. Oh, qdoe being hit, unable to get the bombs in, but Mashy getting hit by keys. There's a weird back and forth happening here of their positions in the race. Hey, this room's stuck. Hey, there's no real speed strat. You just want to push these pots. You know? It's one of my least favorite rooms in the entire run because you just push pots. That's it. There's no tech. There's no cool trick. There's no. I mean, yeah. They get the key. And Mashy taking the slight lead by the end of that pot room. And they're gonna continue forward. Hopefully we don't get any terrible Zol spawns here. Those are the green slimes. And we got two terrible. Ay. qdoe, you saw having his sword out already, playing it safe, able to kill those Zols immediately, getting cutting the time loss behind Mashy and syncing them up once again with this back and forth that's going on. We'll see now if one of them or both of them are going to go for the quick strats in the side scroller. qdoe not getting terrible keys. Neither of them going for the quick strat, where you can use a seed to make it over that first elevating platform without on the first cycle, or a sort of 0 cycle. qdoe coming out into the dark room ahead. Neither of them using a seed here either. Oh no! qdoe. qdoe couldn't see in the dark. Taking a spill. qdoe. qdoe, no. It's dark, chat. It's hard to see in the dark. Link doesn't have dark vision, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. Mashy pulling away a little bit. But again, this is Dungeon 4, and this could change. So, you know, there's a lot of momentum shifting that can happen at various points in this game. We're gonna see a nice little room up here with 2 likes and a tech-tyke to get a key. We'll see whether or not Mashy not using a seed in here. Both runners, I think, having a lot of extra seeds at this point in the game. qdoe getting very unlucky as a like grabs him as he hops out of the minecart, which is terribly unfortunate. Do you ever think about how mechanics in these games work, where Link has to kill 3 Stalfos, and when he kills 3 Stalfos, a staircase appears? Does that register with anyone? Does anyone know the science behind that? Are any of you engineers? Are any of you game engineers? Because I don't know. I'm not a game. Hey. Mashy, both runners at 19 seeds. That is a lot of seeds. Typically you want to have around 9 or 9, between 9 and 11, between 9 and 10 seeds. Just to make sure that you are using your seeds properly and not sort of overfilling on seeds. Mashy making his way into the dungeon for mini boss qdoe as well. This is a Gunima. A Gunima is easy. Easy is the word I'm looking for. So he spawns 3 copies of himself, where one of them is real. The real one has a shadow underneath, and you can only see the shadow when the torches are lit. So you light the torches and you kill him. That's the fight. That's the fight. I like this idea. I like the idea that the staircase is made from the collapsed bones of the skeletons of the Stalfos. We're going with that. That's my in-canon reason. Thank you. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, our runner's about to pick up. Mashy just doing so, picking up the dungeon item, the slingshot. The slingshot allows us to sling our seeds in a straight shot. Sling our seeds in a straight shot is a hard sentence to say. Don't say it when you have to talk a lot during a race. We're gonna use the slingshot to shoot some ember seeds at some torches and spawn a chest over there in the bottom left corner. Hey, make sure you don't save and quit before you hear the jingle of the chest spawning, because if you do, that chest won't be there. No, play it safe. That's what I'm talking about, chat. Oh no, I don't. Okay, no, we're fine. He got the save. I was just making sure. If you save and quit before you get the chest there, you lose the chest and you are in trouble. Mashy, are you going for the cool jump, Mashy? Oh, Mashy going for the shortcut jump, not able to get it. We'll see if he gets it second try. Unable to get it as well. qdoe taking a slightly different route here. Choosing to get that key before continuing forward. We'll see how that time change pays off. If it ends up giving him an advantage later on. It'll also depend very heavily on whether or not he goes for this jump. Because at this point, he would be gaining time, saving time rather, if he were to just go the long way. Could have gone the long way because a key spawns. Chooses not to. Gets it eventually. Getting the big key. We'll see. I think the runners at this point are very similarly timed. Again, the gap has closed as The couple of falls that Mashy took versus qdoe has given qdoe, put him back into this race already in Dungeon 4. Having a little bit of trouble there with the switch, as Mashy now making his way towards the Dungeon 4 boss. Before that, he has to deal with some red Wizrobes. Red Wizrobes are annoying. He gets the 2-cycle though with the good Wizrobe spawn, so all is well. qdoe, not quite as lucky getting a 3-cycle. We're gonna see now what our runners do in this room. You can make this jump with Pegasus Seeds. Getting hit by the anti-fairy. That is terrible. And qdoe taking the lead because he gets the jump first try. Chad, it's going back and forth. Mashy losing time as he continues to fall, opting to take the safe strat, switch to his Ember Seeds, light the torch to create the bridge, and continue forward. We'll see if qdoe struggles with Goma or furthers his lead here. Goma can be a real pain, but we'll see what happens. So Goma, typically, you want to cut off her claw in the casual strat. You cut off her claw, and you then try to shoot her in the eye. She's supposed to block her face with her claw, like you just saw there on qdoe's screen. However, if you are correctly aligned, both on the vertical sort of alignment and not too far away from her, you can still hit her past her claw without her recognizing that she can block it. Running out of Scent Seeds, so having to switch to Ember Seeds. Oh. qdoe on a quarter of a heart. Oh. Chat. The clutch. I apologize. I got a little bit scared there. For qdoe. Oh my. Oh my. qdoe clutching it out, not dying. Mashy having a cleaner Goma fight, saving some time that he lost from those missed jumps earlier. Again, keeping the race close. I was scared for qdoe. You see now the runners are going to go into this underwater area over here to pick up the second gem. This gem is in the shape of a triangle. You saw earlier on before Dungeon 3, they picked up a square gem. Now we have a triangle gem. If you don't know, try to think about, there are 2 more gems. Think about what shapes they might be. Keep that in mind. Think about it. Think about it if you're right. If you know it, don't spoil it in chat. Let the people that don't know learn. Now, as I said before, because we have the Gale Seeds, we can warp back and pick up some more Pegasus Seeds. And then we're immediately going to warp out again to another tree that is closer. Oh, qdoe forgot for a moment, I think, where he was supposed to go. But got a grip and ported to the right way. Ported to the right tree, rather. Where we need to make our way towards Dungeon 5. But before we can do that, you might notice we only have 3 seasons and we're 4 dungeons through, which means it's time, you got it, for another trip to Subrosia, where we're going to pick up our final season, Fall. Fall is an interesting season, because Fall covers holes with leaves, which allows for Link to pit walk, which is the only time you're going to see RTA pit walking. And it also, you know how I talked about how spring makes it so that some flowers that are stone during the non-seasons they bloom during spring? Fall does the same thing, but with mushrooms. Mushrooms, as everyone knows, turn to stone when it's not autumn or fall, whatever you decide to call it. Pumpkin spice season, exactly. So you can only pick up mushrooms when it's fall. That's it. That's the end of it. That's the end of it. It's the same joke for the spring. It's just a different season. I'm not sure what you know, it's, what do you do with that? It's hard to say. qdoe did take a fall on his way. You saw both runners pick up a bomb flower. That bomb flower is used on qdoe's screen right now to blow up a series of rocks that is blocking the entrance. Those Subrosians there are smelters, and they want to use the ore chunks from that rock in their smelting. So you grab the ore, or you grab the bomb flower, you blow it up for them. They're very happy with you. They say, whoa, thank you so much. And then you continue forward. And you pick up fall. And this is our final season. We're the hero. We're the hero of seasons now. We are the hero of seasons. That's us. Link, hero of seasons. And now that Link has all 4 seasons, he can just go right to the end of the... Oh no, sorry. No. That's not right. That's my bad. My bad, chat. No, he still has to do the dungeons. There are still 4 more dungeons to go. What? qdoe coming out of Subrosia and heading on towards Dungeon 5 now. Dungeon 5 is the Unicorn Cave, which is completely apt because there are no unicorns in the cave. And, you know, that's... Yep. Uh-huh. That's it. These mushrooms right here, you can only pick up 1 at a time if there's one that's still on screen. So he threw that first one off of the screen so that he could immediately pick up the next one. If that mushroom had bounced on the screen, he would have had to wait until it despawned before he picked up the second one. qdoe taking an interesting route through Dungeon 5. I'm not familiar with this route. Opting to go for this key first. Or not this key, rather, but for this block push first. Whereas Mashy seems to be taking a route that I'm a little bit more familiar with. So he pushes that block, which will spawn a magnet ball later on in the run that we will need. Later on the dungeon that we need. And now he will continue forward. Mashy going to be making his way towards the dungeon item. At this point, having to do another slight side scroller here. Again, opting not to use seeds, playing it safe. You can use seeds here just to speed this area up. But if you're not familiar with the seed management necessarily, it might be a little bit too risky for you. All right. Using the seed coming out. Oh. Oh no. Alright, sorry. Mashy picking up the magnet glove, which is the Dungeon 5 dungeon item, as he is then doing a save quit to get out of the dungeon. The magnet glove is pretty cool because it allows for a lot of interesting, cool jumps that you can do, and jump tech that you really shouldn't be able to do. You're going to watch Mashy. He's going to jump out of basically midair. Right there. You just saw it happen. Why does it happen? Because. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions. It's a magnet glove. You've accepted that feathers can make people jump, seeds can make people faster, and you can use a glove to pull yourself across great distances. Just also accept that you can jump out of thin air when you're using said magnet glove. qdoe on half a heart with no heart ring. Oh my goodness. That was some very interesting tech. I've never seen that attempt before from qdoe. Trying to go for a very interesting buffer jump, not getting it and dying. Luckily, he's not too far away, so it's not the most inoptimal death, but it's still a death nonetheless. Meanwhile, Mashy in this Armos room. This Armos has a fun little quirk about it, where the 4 chests that you see spawn after the Armos die, you have to open in the same order that you killed the Armos in to get the key. If you don't open them in the correct order, you hear a nice little buzzing noise, and then you get 4 anti-fairies that spawn. And then you have to leave the room, reset it, and try it all over again. qdoe getting into the Armos room now, as you're seeing Mashy push the block that qdoe pushed at the start of the dungeon. And this will be very interesting to see. It looks like they're going to be about even, potentially, on the save and quits, because both runners are going to save and quit right now. And now both runners are essentially back and synced up. qdoe a little bit ahead at the end of it all, even with the death. Luckily, his death, again, was not in a bad spot. All things considered. As good a death as a death can be in a speedrun. Synced up almost perfectly. Doing the item switch. qdoe a little bit ahead. There's another bit of one of those mid-air jumps. You even see Link get to walk a little bit before he does the jump because Link can change the season with a rod. All right, that's why. Both runners gonna pick up one last small key before they head on to the Dungeon 5 mini boss, Saiger. Saiger is pretty straightforward, but if you're not careful, can end up ruining your life. Saiger is I believe Saiger is a play on Siberian tiger, or saber-toothed tiger, one of the two. I don't know. It's hard to say. Probably saber-toothed tiger. Probably. But you need to hit the red orb on his tail. Saiger has four different movement patterns that he can do. qdoe not able to get the 3 cycle. We'll see. He should be fine with the 4 cycle. Getting the 4 cycle. We'll see if Mashy can save a little bit of time here. Unfortunately, also not getting the 3 cycle, so he will continue being a little bit further behind. No time loss there for either runner compared to the other. That's the magnet ball that we spawned a little bit earlier in the run. And we're now making our way to grab the boss key and then head on to our Dungeon 5 boss. There's some cool tech down here. Hopefully we get to see some... Okay, so neither runner going for the sort of speed tech necessarily. Oh, no, Mashy going for it. You see now, Mashy saving some time with his Pegasus Seed. If he had gotten the first part of that, where if he had not fallen off the ladder, but jumped off the ladder, he might be a little bit ahead right now. But you can see he's saving some time using that speed tech. Just showing what the tech can do. Neither runner here going for the Pegasus strat, but qdoe having a slight mix-up, losing some time as Mashy pulls ahead at this point. But Digdogger is a boss. Digdogger's a boss. qdoe going for the going for a slightly different tech. Not falling, but a little bit slow. So this is Digdogger. He is from Zelda 1. All the bosses that you see show up, most of them from Dungeon 1, but all of them show up in other Zelda games, except for the Dungeon 8 boss. Mashy not getting the 1 cycle. qdoe's on half a heart. I'm scared. qdoe, careful. Alright, Mashy getting the kill. qdoe playing it safe, and as a result, losing time. Just because he was trying not to hurt himself, he was not able to get very many little Digdogger kills. We'll see if he can still pull off the 2 cycle. Ooh, one remaining. Gets the 2 cycle. Late 2 cycle, but still gets it. Losing a little bit of time on Mashy in the fight, just because of how low his health was. And you can see here how that heart ring has been coming into play for Mashy. Mashy was not really at risk of dying. Mashy was not afraid of the spikes or the little Digdoggers at all, because he had the health to just sort of sustain through. Now, you're going to see, after Dungeon 5, we're going to pick up the final 2 remaining gems. Mashy did not have to make a stop at the Pegasus Seed tree, because he had enough Pegasus Seeds to make it all the way through. qdoe is going to have to make his stop, which means that he's going to lose a little bit of time on Mashy here as well. So that's one of the benefits of... honestly, qdoe's seed management is more consistent with what you see from most runners. Mashy, because of how he has not used his seeds in other places, was able to save the time here as an end result. But we'll see how much that pays off moving forward. But he certainly has the lead right now. So we picked up the circle gem. You just saw qdoe pick up the circle gem from that old man. That old man won't give you the circle gem until you have 5 essences. So, you know, that's the situation. Now they are basically swapped in order. qdoe now going for the X gem in the island off the side of the beach that you use, that only mystery seed that you ever use, which reveals, if you saw on Mashy's stream, a mini Moldorm that's just hanging out underneath a question mark in the sand. If you missed it on Mashy, you're about to see it on qdoe as well. Because mystery seeds have an option to do one of the 4 other seeds, we use them there to try to save menus. And then we use the actual seed is necessary for that question mark. Yep, there you go. Spawns a little Moldorm, and then you continue forward. You see an X gem, you see a square gem, you see a triangle gem, and you see the circle gem. What does this confirm? What does this confirm, Twitch chat? Oracle Games remake on PlayStation 4 coming this winter, baby. Oh no, wait, that's not. That's okay. Sorry, no, I've just received word that was not okay. I apologize for any misinformation that you may have received as a result of anything that I've said. My fault. I do apologize. But now we've entered into the Tarm Ruins, which is some consider this to be the best music in the game. I'll shut up for a second so you can listen to it. And I think that's enough time. Some people are into it. Some people are into the sound. It's not my favorite song. It's a good song, but I think people appreciate it because it's not in the game for that long. The Tarm Ruins lead directly into the Lost Woods. And the Lost Woods are where we are going to pick up our level 2 sword, as well as continue forward towards Dungeon 6. So in Ages, Oracle of Ages, the way that you need to get the level 2 sword is to complete the trade sequence. Which means that it's incredibly slow for the speedrun, and they don't get it in the speedrun. However, in this game, all the trade sequence does is give you the code for the Lost Woods to get the level 2 sword. So if you know the code, you can just go get the sword. That's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So the code for gain level 2 sword is you're doing the seasons from coldest to warmest, and then moving left every time. So winter left, fall left, spring left, summer left. And then to get to Dungeon 6, you still go from coldest to warmest, so winter, fall, spring, summer, but you go winter left, fall down, spring right, summer up. Which gives you access out of the Lost Woods and towards D6. One of the powers of fall is to ripen mushrooms, because as everyone knows, when it's not autumn, mushrooms are hard as stone, and they're just not ripe. You don't want to pick them. They could be poisonous or rocks. One of those two. One of them sounds worse than the other, but you know, it's all the same when you come down to it, really. Mashy wrapping around, pushing the Armos so that he can activate the spring and jump up with the flower to cut down this flower in the way and get into Dungeon 6. But before that, he's met by an old robed individual who says mysterious things. How spooky, how interesting, how mysterious. I wonder if that'll come into play later. But Mashy has made his way into Dungeon 6. Dungeon 6 is the Ancient Ruins, and it's a dungeon of traps. We're not going to see a lot of the trapped rooms, but there are a lot of rooms that look identical to the intended rooms, which results in, if you were to make a wrong move casually, you end up in a place that looks familiar but is wrong. Luckily, with the power of speedrunning and going fast, we can skip out and we can skip a couple keys. We can skip a couple rooms and we know where we're going, so we don't have to lose any time. Mashy taking a fall there in this room, giving qdoe some room to move up. Mashy struggling a little bit with this magnet ball here. And you're seeing right now, if qdoe can do fast strats for this, he will save some good time and close the gap. Mashy with a save and quit. Now having a key. And qdoe having a much cleaner key room there, which means that his deficit has been shrunk. Mashy doing some nice little jumps. This jump right here is unintended but doable. It saves you some time, a bunch of time. qdoe opting to skip the platform, not paying off for him. Not sure if he's uncomfortable with the platform. No, goes for it the second time. Unable to make the second jump though. We'll see what happens here. Unable to make it again. This is falling a little bit behind now. Makes it on the third try. Not bad. Mashy pushing a trampoline because, you know, he needs to jump. And the Rock's Feather can only jump you so high. Oh, Mashy getting hurt by a dark nut, but everything's okay. As we make our way into the dungeon, dungeon 6 item room, which is the magic boomerang. It's the boomerang that you can control with your mind if you're Link, or your D-pad if you're running the game. So it's a little bit less cool if you're not Link, but it's still useful. So the magic boomerang has a longer range than the level 1 boomerang that we skip. We have control over it once we throw it, which we don't with a level 1 boomerang. And it does damage. It is far more useful. It's necessary for the Dungeon 6 boss that you'll see coming up. And it kills Armos. Isn't that cool? The magic boomerang kills Armos, but the level 2 sword, like, doesn't. You'll see this in Dungeon 7, what I mean. Go to another room where this takes place, rather. Mashy doing some cool little jumps. Guy having to push a button and continue his A forward. And we're going to use our magic boomerang to hit a switch, spawn some stairs, and continue forward. Oh. Avoiding the keys. Good control of the boomerang there. A very difficult thing for anyone playing the game casually or learning the speedrun is that boomerang control. It can be very challenging to sort of get a good grip on it, and you'll see how that sort of can affect the run in the Dungeon 6 boss, Manhandla. Oh, Mashy with an incorrect item menuing there. And this is the shrinking room, the Indiana Jones room. It has a number of names. Basically, if you get crushed here, as the walls close in, you get sent back to the start of the dungeon. And it's fine because you can totally just take the mini boss warp. Oh no, wait, we don't have that yet. So you have to do everything over again. And they've been in the dungeon for a hot second, so that's a time loss. That is a time loss. Mashy getting a Pegasus drop from the Stalfos there. That's always nice. I don't know how many seeds he's at necessarily, but I'm never going to complain about more Pegasus seeds. It's never a bad thing. It's great. qdoe in the room as well, in the closing room, Indiana Jones room, as Mashy makes his way into the Dungeon 6 mini-boss, Vire. Vire has 3 movement patterns. One where he charges straight in at you and you can do a spin slash and it's beautiful. One where he shows up in the corner like that and shoots a fireball. That's not great because you can't really hit him. And then this one where he circles around and you can hit him, as Mashy just did, but it's not fast. It's annoying. We want him to just charge at us 3 times. Fire could be a great a great friend and do that for us. He doesn't. Mashy having a pretty clean fight though. I believe that was 5 or 6 cycles, which is not bad at all. Totally respectable. We'll see if qdoe can have a clean fight as well. As Mashy is getting to a sick RNG portion of the game. This next room, there are 2 buttons. You get to push a button. It's 50-50. Let's see. Hey, first try. It's 50-50 chance of it being the right button. If you miss, you have to leave the room and come back and hit the button again. And it could be the wrong button again. And so you can just keep going. I think the record that I'm familiar with, one of the, not in any of the tournament races, but in one of the warm-up races a week or 2 ago, one of the runners, Saga's, got 18th try button, chat. I want you to think about being in a room and walking back and forth 18 times to hit a button so that a staircase will spawn. And just think about how frustrated you would be in that situation. qdoe seemingly having a pretty decent fight overall, as Mashy now making his way towards the Dungeon 6 boss, Manhandla. Manhandla is a pain. One of my least favorite bosses to fight. Is a cool boss, but a pain. The way that it works, Manhandla takes damage from the magic boomerang, and Manhandla opens its mouth to shoot fireballs at you. You can do the math. I believe in you, chat. But if you can't, you want to hit the mouths with the boomerang when they're open. But the caveat there is that Manhandla only opens the mouths when it's not facing towards you. So you need to manipulate the boomerang to wrap around and connect with them. You need to hit each head 3 times. And then after you do that, you can hit Manhandla, the base, 3 times. Cut out its core. A little bit grotesque, but you know, we got a world to save. We don't have time for niceties here. Pretty clean Manhandla fight overall. And then qdoe gonna make his way in very shortly here. Hopefully he doesn't get trolled by Keith trying to hit the switch. Everything's fine there. As Mashy now coming out is gonna head towards Dungeon 7. Of course, as always, we need to make a couple pit stops. We need to make our run-of-the-mill pit stop for Pegasus Seeds. Let's see how qdoe's Manhandla goes. Okay, so because Mashy had enough Pegasus Seeds to do this part of the game without needing to stop by the Pegasus tree, he's going to do so. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he chooses to go to the Pegasus tree after he completes this section. I'm not entirely sure. But we made another trip to Subrosia to talk to skeleton pirate, because there are skeleton pirates in this game, but they're not bad. They're not bad Stalfos or anything like that. They're good guys. They just want to go out on the sea. But the problem is that the captain won't go to sea without his trusty bell, which is likely in a shipwreck in the desert. So you have to go to the desert and fetch it for him so that he will agree to take back to the sea, because they've been shipwrecked for so long. And despite the fact that the ship seems to be in complete working order, because there's no bell, they've been locked into Subrosia for an eternity, or you know, however long they've been there for. I don't know. Could be less than that. Could have been 3 days. Hard to say. Could have been 4 minutes. I don't know. But as a result, Mashy makes his way into the desert. qdoe cleaning up on Manhandla. Also going straight into the desert, or into the Subrosia to talk to the pirates. Mashy talking to a skeletal pirate ghost, because skeleton pirates have ghosts, and is going to use that skeleton pirate's head as a sort of metal detector for the bell, because there are 4 set locations that the bell can be in. Unfortunately, Mashy got 4th try. When you get to the correct corresponding location, The head opens and closes its mouth very loud, very quickly, and makes a noise. Mashy was fast enough to skip the audio cue. Hey, we got the trusty bell. No, that's the rusty bell. Okay, so that's not quite what we needed. So we need to shine it up. It's a mess. You saw there was cracks. It was all banged up. We had to fix it. So we're gonna take a nice little trip. Mashy, playing it safe here, picking up some more Gale Seeds as he was running low, and he knew he might have been fine, but he was putting himself at risk. I decided to play it safe, pick up some more Gale Seeds. Also picked up some Pegasus Seeds, and is now on his way back to Subrosia to go and clean up that rusty bell to make it the trusty bell that it always deserved to be. Cutting his way back into Subrosia. Meanwhile, qdoe gonna look for the bell right now. Hopefully qdoe gets an early try. Otherwise, he's gonna be hurting as he needs to try and make up some time here. Dungeon 7 is a dangerous dungeon because there is a skip that, if failed, loses you a solid, I want to say, depending on, I mean, if you miss it, and depending on how many seeds you have left, it could lose you 30 seconds per miss. 30 to 40. My time might be a little bit off there, but so things could change. I believe both runners are going to go for post skip, but we will see. qdoe, I believe that was third try, so not quite fourth. A little bit of time gained, saved over Mashy there, if I saw that correctly. And he's now going to make his way probably to pick up some Gale Seeds, or not some Gale Seeds, some Pegasus Seeds, and then continue forward. And there we go. Mashy now back at the pirate with the bell. And now he gets to experience the joy, the absolute joy of a 1 minute, 50-second cutscene that has not random, but scattered text boxes throughout. So, you know, you could, if there wasn't text boxes, take a quick trip to the bathroom if you needed to. But instead, you have to sit here and just sort of mash constantly throughout, because you don't want to really pay enough attention to be focusing on the text boxes. So if you just sort of mash throughout the entire thing, you'll get through it. qdoe shining up his bell. Fun little fact about these blacksmiths here: if you ask them to do something nicely, they'll tell you to go away, because that's not how people who want things done talk. If you want something done, you tell them to do it, and you don't take no for an answer. No, wait, that's not okay. No. No. I mean, that's only for the bell here. That's terrible advice for anything except for this bell. In this game. People here love the music for the pirates. You can take a quick little listen, see if it's your cup of tea. Yeah, it's all right. People really like it. There are people that say that Taram music is the best. Some people say that the Skeleton Pirate music is the best. Who's to say? Who's really to say? You know, it's a little bit silly. The pirates, they've been shipwrecked for so long that they've lost their sea legs, so they get seasick and they spin around and sort of weirdly dance as a result. That's why you get that very silly music. As a result, just because it's the absurdity of the situation, essentially. Cutscene's over. Mashy gets to continue. The intended way of doing this dungeon, or this area right here, is to go and change the season, but we can make that jump with a little bit of precision and skip a bunch of time save and a bunch of seasons changing, just to make our lives easier. Mashy's entering into Dungeon 7. Dungeon 7's my favorite dungeon by far, because Dungeon 7 has the best item in the game, and one of the best items in any Zelda game. And it's the big brother to the Rock's Feather, or big sister, big sibling to the Rock's Feather. And this dungeon sort of utilizes that, and we're gonna make good use of that when we get it. So Mashy does look like he's going to be going for post skip, you saw those torches start to go out as he was walking through. If all 4 torches go out, Link gets sent back to the start of the dungeon, which means that normally you would have to go to a separate area and light some torches and kill a ghost. And by killing that ghost, the torches in this room stay lit. But with some precision, just possibly, we can make our way through without... not getting the post skip. There you go. You can just make that. Ooh, actually going for it once and then cutting his losses and just taking the intended route. If qdoe gets post skip first try, or even like second try, he could save time here. He could catch up pretty quickly, because not only does post skip save you time, obviously, from having to do this fight, it also will skip a key requirement. You don't need to pick up an extra key. Now that Mashy has gone the intended route, he will have to stop and pick up that extra key, which is even more time loss that gets tacked on to missing post skip in the first place. So we'll see how things start to line up as we get towards the mini boss / end of Dungeon 7. Mini boss and end boss of Dungeon 7. Yeah, we'll just see how it plays out. Mashy right now, these Armos here are random. One of them is dormant, won't attack you. So you just simply want to find that one. If you get unlucky, you can lose a bit of time there just by having to go to the furthest one away and push it all the way over. But Mashy getting pretty decent luck with that first pass through. qdoe in the middle of post skip, let's see. qdoe also failing post skip. Unfortunate. Is he going to try again, or is he going to... Okay, he's going to attempt it again. So he lost the time from missing it, but he could still potentially save time on Mashy if he makes it on this second try. If he misses this second attempt, he is losing time on Mashy no matter what. So we'll see how this pans out. I'm a little bit worried. I hope that he gets it. Otherwise, Mashy's lead is going to start to ramp up. Mashy taking a fall over some very dumb jumps there. Taking a second fall. I mean, all these little falls are going to add up. qdoe getting the second try post skip. You saw it there. Just barely making it before getting sent back to the start. So with that in conjunction with Mashy taking these falls here, it is really hard to tell. It is really hard to tell what exactly is gonna... Oh. Okay, Mashy's having some real trouble here. Getting that. Okay, making the jumps, but that was a lot of time. qdoe's gaining here. And with the extra key that Mashy has to get, I don't know how close they are at the moment. Again, we're not going to really find out until probably the boss key area. qdoe going for the jump, going for the swag jump right there. That's a little bit of a precise... It's a precise jump, and also you're on a very strict timer because that platform likes to start moving back immediately. Very, very nice jump made. Could have lost some time there if he had fallen, but gets it with little to no difficulty. Very impressive. And qdoe making those jumps first try. This is what I'm talking about right now. If qdoe continues to execute with this level of precision from here on out, we're going to see this race blows up very, very quickly. Gain a good kill on the Magnesus as well. As Mashy enters into the second Poe sister room. So post skip is supposed to skip that first Poe that Mashy had to fight. This Poe we cannot skip because the well, you'll see after this fight is over. 2 spin slashes is enough to kill this Poe sister. And Mashy is now going to make his way forward. But this next room that you're about to see, the room with water, these torches also go out if that Poe is not dead. And unlike the first one where you can do some precise jumps, there's no way to make it to the end of this room before all 4 torches go out. So unfortunately, it is required to kill that pose system. But Mashy now, you're going to be doing some cool little jumps here. You're going to watch that magnet air jump tech. Oh no, unfortunately a slight error there in execution. Not connecting with it. We'll see what happens. Okay, getting it that time. Transitioning the screen down so that if he misses the jump like he did right there, he doesn't end up on the other side of the gap. Just a little safety strat there. qdoe at the pose sister. I think that keeping in mind the Poe situation, the Poe skip situation, the key count, I think that qdoe's actually ahead right now. It will depend if he has a problem with these jumps, it could be a problem, but it could change, but we'll see. Mashy making his way to the best item in the game, one of the best 2D Zelda items of all time, the Rock's Cape, the level 2 Rock's Feather, the big kahuna. Now Link can double jump with gliding, and he has Pegasus Seed. Chat, do I even need to begin to explain to you why that's some cool stuff? Do I? Do you understand why that's awesome? I love this item so much. It just, it makes the movement so crisp, so fun. Big fan. Big fan. Mashy gained a C drop there, picking it up. That could, that will save him a little bit of time. It's awesome. Please. Oh no, qdoe having some trouble with the jump, opting to go the long way around here. Unable to make the jump to Rock's Cape. Slowing down, losing a little bit of time. This will be interesting to see. Again, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know how far the disparity is between these two runners at this point. The Rock's Cape is awesome because it grants Link the ability to move much more further distances over gaps, so we'll be able to clear larger gaps. And a lot of what you'll see is the runners just jumping over enemies, avoiding enemies on their way that they would usually have to slash through and whatever else. Okay, so this is the key that Mashy has to pick up. That this is the key that Mashy has to pick up that qdoe does not. So we'll see. I think that even still, with a couple of execution flubs in the room before the Rock's Cape, with qdoe having to take the longer path, I think Mashy is now just barely ahead. We'll see very shortly here, but I think Mashy is retaining his lead for the time being. Yeah. So Mashy's still ahead. But again, they are a little bit closer than you may have initially seen or thought, just based on their relative locations, because qdoe's going to be able to skip all of this and go straight for the boss key. They're now much closer. You're going to see qdoe now just trailing right behind. If Mashy has a slight mix-up on our Dungeon 7 boss, Gliok, qdoe could take the lead. Mashy getting the buttons down just fine, not having to worry about that at all. Nice little puzzle here where you need the 3 switches to be red and 1 to be blue. And he now needs to kill these 4 Stalfos to pick up the boss key. Getting the kill. Not a bad Stalfos room. Pretty good. Big key. We'll see how qdoe does. If qdoe could save a good amount of time here with a super quick, but Mashy's was not bad at all. Very clean. Oh, qdoe having a slightly better boss key room. Again, saving a little bit of time there. These little time increment saves are gonna be very important because Dungeon 8 has one heck of a trick that is going to make or break these runners. I would say under sub 2 hours, the mid 150 range. Gleeok here. Gleeok here. You're familiar with him from Zelda 1, perhaps. He has 2 heads. You have to cut the heads off. You want to cut them off in time with each other, close to each other, because if the head flies around for too long, they can end up reattaching to the body and getting all their health back. When both the heads are cut off, rather than dying, Gleeok turns into an undead dragon body that you have to kill. Both Mashy and qdoe having clean fights. qdoe just right there. This is a very, very tight race. And Dungeon 8 is coming up. And Dungeon 8, boy, oh boy, are you in for a treat, speed gaming. Gonna be super, super lovely trick that is something. It is quite something. But before, we need to make one final trip to Subrosia. Now, you see, the pathway to Dungeon 8 is blocked by... the way to Dungeon 8 is blocked by trees, a bunch of trees. Not the kind of trees that you can turn to winter and make them go away. Way too many trees. So what does that mean? It means that sometimes... Oh no. This jump is very difficult and is not intended. Casually, you would change the season to fall and then walk over the pits. If qdoe gets this jump, oh no, the shift. Oh no. qdoe taking the lead over Mashy here as Mashy's struggling with this jump. Oh no, qdoe. Okay, Mashy makes it, but qdoe's ahead now. As we're getting to Dungeon 8, again, the momentum can shift in Dungeon 8 very easily. But as I was saying, the way to Dungeon 8 is blocked off right now by a bunch of trees, and we can't turn it to winter. So what do we do instead? We throw a bomb. We throw a bomb into a lava pool. That lava pool explodes, causing a chain reaction of volcanic eruptions, which are going to rain fire down on the land of Holodrum. And it's probably going to kill some things. Probably going to kill some water, some wildlife. Probably going to maybe harm some innocent people and destroy the landscape. It's not good for the whole environmental health thing, but also it kills the trees, which is a good thing in this situation because it means that we're going to be able to get to Dungeon 8. Because sometimes, chat, things aren't so obviously black and white. It's not clear that the good guy can't destroy some things sometimes. Link has to save the girl, save the world, and to do so, he has to do a little bit of destruction. It's a lesser evil. It's a lesser evil. You know, it happens. But now, both of our runners can make their way towards Dungeon 8 now that the landscape has been eradicated and decimated. With a couple more nice little jumps that they're going to do. Oh, qdoe taking a spill here. Every missed jump here is an opportunity for the other runner to save some time. qdoe taking a fall. This is what I'm talking about. Ah, they're right. They're so close. Okay, Mashy saving some time there. Closing the gap ever so slightly. qdoe making his way forward as they're both about to get into Dungeon 8. Dungeon 8 is the only dungeon that's not in the overworld. It's in Subrosia. Picking up a ferry on their way over. And they're in Dungeon 8. Dungeon 8 is inside of a very angry looking volcano. Goofy but angry. And Dungeon 8 is where we have a great bomb-boosted cape jump that we're going to need to do. And you may be wondering, a bomb-boosted cape jump, I wonder what the leniency on that is. It's probably not the most difficult thing since they do it in the run. It's a double frame perfect trick with on a 60 FPS game with buffering that is garbage. So, you know, sometimes you're feeling good, you get it first try. Sometimes you're not feeling good, and you get 25th try. These runners do need to probably, I would save here after they grab this key, just to make sure that if things do go wrong, they are able to reset. So you see them both saving as they pick up the keys. And this is where the setup is happening. First thing that they're going to need to do is kill the Zol that's here. They're going to go to the next screen, fall in the hole, and you're going to see them do a precise sort of movement. qdo's not setting up his sub pixel. Do you not need to set up your sub? Interesting. I don't know if this is going to work. Unable to make it. Okay, so both runners. qdo has now reset his subpixel. I'm not sure whether or not he was lined up for the first one, but when Link jumps and transitions screens, the way that he transitions is slightly different from when he doesn't jump and transition screens, and that has an impact on sort of the minuscule locations that he can be at. So he needs to be at a precise sort of underlying pixel level for him to be able to get the trick. And yeah, you're seeing right now. Whoever, I mean, honestly, it's likely that whoever gets this jump first is going to be the one to win this race. Is that it? That's it. There you go. There you go. qdo gets it, and I think that unless Mashy gets this very soon, qdo is going to continue to pull ahead. And qdo has 8 Pegasus seeds remaining. So this is key. If Mashy gets it, come on. I don't think that's not going to be it. Mashy almost getting it a few frames late on that second jump. Unfortunate. At this point, it's going to come down to how qdo is going to do on Onyx. If the race, if he is not well practiced with Onyx, then and dies or something like that, things could take a turn if Mashy's able to get that jump soon. But this jump right here is going to make or break most of the tournament matches that you see from this point forward. Oh, he got it. Oh no! I was wrong. That looked good. Oh no. He was 1 frame too late. Ay. Oh no. Come on, Mashy. Not getting the luck. Not getting the luck. Meanwhile, qdo, you're gonna see throwing ice chunks into these holes that basically will freeze over the lava down below. This jump HSS skip, it saves between 4.5 and 5 minutes on the intended route of the game, because you cut out the dungeon item, which is the hyper slingshot, which is why it's the HSS skip. You skip out on the mini boss Fripolar, and you skip basically the half the dungeon. Mashy having to reset because he ran out of seeds. A very unfortunate turn, as this race was neck and neck for the majority of it. qdo could die. qdo's only at 3 hearts. If qdo dies, I don't know if he hit the button. If he didn't hit the button and he dies, he needs to do HSS skip again. So he seems a little bit okay. This is interesting. qdoe has to be careful. He's playing it super safe, opting to go back and get a fairy rather than risk death at this point. I'm not sure whether or not he is aware of the fact that he is ahead right now, or if he just decided it was worth the risk even if it was neck and neck right now. But he opts to play it safe and get it to make sure that he doesn't die. With the knowledge that Mashy hasn't gotten past HSS skip, it's the right play. But it is, you know, unfortunate nonetheless. Getting the last ice chunk in, and he's going to be making his way to the Dungeon 8 boss. Medusa's head. The Dungeon 8 boss, Medusa Head, is the only original boss in this entire game. It's also arguably one of the easiest bosses in the game, despite being the boss of the last dungeon. Again, HSS skip saves between 4.5 and 5 minutes on when you get it off the intended route. If you're doing both optimally. Medusa says, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward fight. You want to hit her, you want to not get hit by the, you want to not get hit by her blue orbs because they turn you to stone. qdoe having a fairly safe fight, picking up the heart container. Mashy finally getting it and playing it safe, scaring me a little bit. Going for the button just in case someone die, or someone were to, or if he were to die. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't know whether or not Mashy is going to be able to pull it off. It really depends on how practiced qdoe is with Onyx, and if he's able to have a clean Onyx or if he dies. If he dies on Onyx and doesn't save before he fights Facade, there's potential there for Mashy to come back, because I think oh no, don't die, Mashy. Mashy, please. Because of that time loss, and because there's a Facade fight, that means that you're going to be using bombs. So if qdoe fights Facade without saving, kills Facade, and then dies to Onyx afterwards, he might not have enough bombs remaining to fight Facade again, which could lose him a significant chunk of time. I've seen runners who have died to Onyx get back to Facade and then not have enough bombs. Be stuck in the fight for between like 3 and 5 minutes, and then end up leaving the castle to go buy bombs from the shop because they just can't wait any longer. qdoe picked up the Maku seed from the Maku tree. This seed is what allows Link to bypass the barrier that is protecting Onyx's castle, essentially. And will allow us to get to the end of the game. We are quickly approaching the end here on qdoe's side. And we'll see. Well, hopefully everything's clean for him and he finishes strong. And we find out that old robed individual was actually Twin Rova. Spoilers, chat. Spoilers. That old man or woman is Twin Rova. And you find out that this is all just a distraction as they're in the process of reviving Ganon. but you can't deal with that right now because you got to save the girl. So they tell you their plan, and then you still can't do anything because you have to go save Din. qdoe having a little bit of a sloppy Wizrow room here, but totally fine. Mashy out of seeds, which is always unfortunate. Alright, we're gonna see. Alright, here's Facade. Facade's coming up. We're gonna see how this Facade fight goes. qdoe has 9 bombs. And he gets a good first pattern. Fireballs is a good pattern. As long as he gets bugs or... Yep, as long as he gets bugs, he was fine. Oh, and he got the bomb drop. He got the bomb drop from the bugs that spawn from Facade, which means that even if he dies, he will have enough bombs to kill Facade again. That is super good, just awareness of what's going on to make sure that he knows that there's a risk involved. And he's playing it safe, grabbing the bombs just in case something goes wrong. That could potentially save him. But now we get to Onyx, who is broken up into mainly 2 main phases. The first phase is up here on the in the room, where he swings his ball and chain, will make rocks fall from the sky. You need to do spin slashes on him. Onyx can't take damage from regular attacks, only spin slashes. After 7 spin slashes, he will bring Din down to protect him. Every time you hit Din's crystal, you take damage. But every time you hit Onyx while hitting the crystal, you get a double hit on Onyx. So players use their health as a resource, getting the double hit and taking the damage. But the fight's not over. This is phase 2. Din wasn't phase 2. Turns out our knight in shining armor is actually a dragon in shining armor. Wait a second. That's not right. Ooh, falling off of Onyx. Only has 4 hearts. Could be dangerous here. We will see what happens. Right now, gonna go the spin slash in. All is well. I think he's got 1 more. There you go. And with that, qdoe has finished. Finished the game with a time of 1:57.24 for SRL. He has completed. I'm going to, as Mashy is currently on his way now to make his way towards Onyx. I'm going to try and get qdoe in to see if he wants to do a post-match interview. But Mashy has just picked up the Democracy and is now going to be heading to Onyx as well. Hopefully he also has a clean fight. We will see. Okay. I'm going to prepare to get qdoe in here for a interview momentarily. All right. Mashy now breaking the barrier and heading into the Onyx fight. So the reason, the way that the ages and seasons work as a combination is, despite the fact that they're 2 completely different games, they are linked together by this sort of overarching through line where Twinrova is sort of responsible for the events in both games. And by beating one, you get a code that you're going to see at the end of qdoe's credits here. And that code... Oh, sorry, no. Yeah. At the end of that code, you can take and go into Ages, beat Ages, and then when you beat Ages, you can get to the basically the true ending of the game where you fight both Twinrova and Ganon. But that is not part of this game because this is an unlinked any %. There is a category of the run that is not very often run where you can go all the way through. Mashy having very unfortunate luck with whenever with the spawns there on Facade. And I think we have qdoe in right now. Hey qdoe, how you feeling?
Hey, pretty good, I guess. That was a pretty big PB for me, so.
Congratulations on the PB. I mean, what was how much did you cut off? Because you were...
Well,
were you not, you weren't...
Yeah, on the leaderboard, I've got a 208. But I've also got a 203 that I think is lost to time, so it's about a
I see. I see. Well, congratulations on the PB in the tournament match. Always a good feeling to get that. So I think the big, I mean, immediately question I have: were you watching? Were you aware that you were ahead in Dungeon 8 and that Mashy had not gotten the HSS skip?
Nope, I was unaware.
You were not? Okay. I was very curious because you got down to 3 hearts there and made the play. I saw you hesitate. I saw you hesitate there as you sort of wrapped around the staircase, and it seemed like you weren't sure whether or not it was the right play, but you went for it.
So wrapping around the staircase was, you know, just missing the staircase.
Oh.
You see, I went once I got back to the crystal room, I went right for a fairy, and I don't know, I just didn't want to die in Dungeon 8. I had a button, so it would have been catastrophic if I died. So.
Absolutely, and it paid off. I mean, the race, for the most part, the two of you were within 30 seconds of each other for the entire race up until between 30 seconds and a minute for the entire race up until Dungeon 8. Mashy got to HSS skip first, but just was unable to connect, and you ended up getting it before him. Just changed the momentum shift. Yeah, and then you cleaned up well. You got the bomb drop off of Facade as well. I was talking about how if potentially you died without having on Onyx without having the bombs, that you could lose a lot of time to that. But picking up the bombs is a safety precaution. Super good, just good awareness of the situation in a high intensity moment.
Yeah, I definitely didn't want to, you know, die on Dragon Owner right before the race and then be stuck on Facade and get in the Infinite where he drops spiders, but none of the spiders drop bombs. And
with that, Mashy just finishing up on Dronix, dunning with a time of 2:03.28. Finishing strong. Once he got HSS skip, he was going through all the way. He no real mess ups. He fell on Dronix, but nothing too severe, and got unlucky Facade. But yeah, is there anything? I mean, for one, you won, so you're gonna be going up against Dragon in your next match. How you feeling about that? How you feeling about that?
Well, I wish luck to Dragon for his next match after mine, because I'm pretty sure he's going to continue on in winner's side. But, I guess we'll see what happens.
Hey, you got from what I've heard, Dragon's not exactly doing a lot of practice here. So yeah. If he plays a little sloppy, if you can pull off another 6-minute PB in one run, you know, I think that there might be something to it. That's all you need to do. All you need to do is another 6-minute PB.
Sure, maybe I'll do a run in between and get a 6-minute PB there, and then save another 6-minute PB for the race. There we go.
That's all it takes. All it takes is just a little bit. Is there anything else? Anything else you want to say? I'm gonna bring Mashy in here in just a moment to have a post game interview with him as well. But anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. I don't know. Really like this game. Community is great, so glad I could play the game well this time.
And again, big congratulations on the victory, getting HSS skip down and finishing strong despite it being such a close race all the way through, and not having the heart ring.
Right.
So, GG's.
Yep. Thanks. GG's.
And we have Mashy here as well. Mashy, tell me. I mean, I think I know what's on your mind, but tell me what you're thinking about. What's going on?
HSS skip.
That was and I think we've summed up everything quite well with that single phrase. So yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know if you were aware of where you were and where the two of you were compared to each other during the race.
Yeah, I had the restream up, so I was keeping an eye on it. I knew HSS skip was going to be the turning point.
Yeah,
especially once I started missing it a couple times.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got, I think, 2 or 3 attempts off, or maybe two or three attempts off before qdoe got there with you. But I mean, up until that point, the two of you had been pretty neck and neck and traded leads all the way through the race. Not even at necessarily pivotal turning points, but there was just little execution things back and forth. It was super close. Outside of HSS skip, obviously, since that's not, you can't really feel great about that. But how do you feel about the rest of your run overall?
It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Missing post skip was obviously one of the bad things. And I decided I'll just go for it once and then go normal, because wasting time missing it over and over again is not something I want to do.
Yeah, that is true. I know that was one point where both you and qdoe missed first try post skip. You opting to go the intended route afterwards. qdoe going for it a second time, getting it, which overall saves him time on the dungeon, closing the gap that was sort of between you two. It was a super close race all the way up until HSS skip. And I think after HSS skip, you had a very clean run to the end. There was nothing super bad that happened up through the end, except for that one part.
Well, Facade was awful.
Well, yeah, but that's not your fault.
Partially it was, because I missed the bomb.
Oh, yeah. That it happens.
So that added an extra cycle on there.
Yeah, and you, I believe, will be going up against. I think you go up against oranges in the next. Now in losers bracket, you're going to be going up against oranges.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's oranges.
And I mean, how are you feeling? Having to go into your next tournament match? Are you going to be? I mean, I have a feeling you're going to be spending some time practicing HSS skip, but is there anything that you're going to be prepping, getting ready for as you get ready for that next match?
Mostly just HSS skip and post skip, probably. Those are the two things that I just fail every single time. And I do need to get more practice on the new setup for HSS skip. I only did a little bit of practice on it for this race.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, HSS skip has been around for a while, but just yesterday, a new setup was found for it that is, for some people, a little bit easier because it allows for, you don't have to throw the bomb beforehand. You allow it to blow up in your hands, and it gives a slightly better visual cue as Link does a front flip. But it's super new, so if you saw qdoe and Mashy, the way that they were doing HSS skip was a little bit different as well. But yeah, overall, I mean, it was a great race. I think everyone was super into it and just excited by the number of twists and turns. I know the number of times that there were a lot of close to death encounters for qdoe, because he didn't have heart ring, and things like getting down to a quarter heart on Goma with a couple hits left, and then watching the momentum shift as you sort of come through and have a cleaner Goma and break down on that time. Wow.
My Goma was not clean. You did not see it properly.
It was okay. So it may not have been clean, but you were basically almost at full health at the end of it, which is in part thanks to Heart Ring. But even though the fight itself,
I was at full health, but I had 1 Ember Seed left.
All right, so it wasn't the cleanest fight. Okay, I was trying to maybe give a little bit extra here, but it was a slightly cleaner fight, which got you the time save. But I just think it was an awesome race to watch, and I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm looking forward to both of your next matches, and seeing what happens.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I think if there's anything else you want to say, Mashy, anything else you want to comment on?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, in that case,
GG to qdoe. Good race.
GG's all around to both of our runners. Let me take a look at the speed gaming schedule to see what else is going on at this point in time. See what else your little speed hearts can be placated by.
Well, I know later today we've got another Oracle of Seasons race coming up. What is that, 7 p.m.?
Yeah, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. There is another Oracle of Seasons race, and I believe it's being raced by Giselle Shaft, and then she's going up against it's me. I'm racing in a couple hours here, 4.5, 5 hours. So if you're into Seasons, if you enjoyed the run, you want to watch more, we'll be back. I believe that's being commentated by JC. But for right now, before then, so block that out, come back at 7 p.m. Eastern to make sure you catch that race, because it's going to be a good time. But until then, we have right now on Speed Gaming 3, there's Sonic Adventure 2 going on at the moment. On Speed Gaming, the main channel, we have Simpsons Hit and Run, Super Metroid on Speed Gaming 4, and then on this channel, a little bit after this, in about I want to say time conversions, half hour, 45 minutes, there will be a Super Metroid Link to the Past randomizer combo tournament as well. So if any of those are your cup of tea, be sure to check them out. But most importantly, make sure that you come back here, 7 p.m. Eastern, catch the next Oracle of Seasons race. This is the it'll be the second to last Seasons match for the first round of the tournament, with the final match happening on Tuesday. But I think that is pretty much it from us over here. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you enjoyed everything that you saw. A very, very good race to watch. Very close for the hefty majority of it. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have an excellent rest of your days.
See you guys.